Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So sometime ago, it's story time, but I just want to complain for just 1 second. The lighting is stellar, but every time I put these glasses on, the glare. You know what I'm saying? I'll try to make it work. Let us begin this story. So sometime ago, I was working at this facility. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. And nope, I can't do it. The glare is getting on my nerves. It's okay. I'll put it back on periodically. I was working at this facility and I was working in the PACU, post anesthesia care unit. Post anesthesia is after anesthesia, after a surgery that required anesthesia. You understand what I'm saying? So, a lot of times, a lot of facilities, inpatient facilities, hospitals, not outpatient, inpatient because there are trauma centers, and those are inpatient, meaning a hospital. And that is where patients who've had traumatic situations or circumstances take place that require emergent surgery, that's where they'll go. And the staff that work in the PACU need to be trained either from ICU or ER as a prerequisite. Jesus. To work there to be able to recover those patients after surgery. They are technically in a critical condition. And so following that, they will go to the ICU. Sometimes they go straight to the ICU, depending on how critical their condition is, because in the ICU, they have everything they need. That is what they do all day, every day. They have a bunch of equipment that some PACUs don't have, simply put. Sometimes the trauma surgeons say, take this patient straight to the ICU, please. Not because PACU nurses are incapable, but sometimes the PACU gets too packed, too busy, too full, too chaotic to really expect a nurse to be able to devote 100% attention and do one-on-one care. You understand what I'm saying? It just needs to make sense, and sometimes it doesn't, and it's safer for the patient to go to the ICU. Another circumstance, if the patient is coming from the ICU to surgery, they just need to go ahead and go right back to the ICU. Right back. You guys already know that patient. They clearly belong in the ICU. Going to get surgery, unfortunately, isn't going to put them in a less than ICU state, a less than critical state. Sure, it contributes to making them better, but it doesn't just get better right away. It doesn't work like that. That's not realistic. That's not logical. I need y'all to tell me how y'all feel about this particular situation, this particular circumstance. I was working at this facility and I was on call. I hate being on call, just so we're clear. I don't know that there's a whole lot of people that enjoy it. And if they do, it's probably because the money is good, but I hate it. I hate being at home and chilling, thinking any minute now I might get a call from the hospital. Hey, this surgery is coming in. We need you to be here to recover. But you're always with another nurse. You're never alone. So I get called in, and it is when I get there that I discover that this patient is an ICU patient who came from the ICU. Now, I'm also new at this facility, brand spanking new. So while it's one thing to be familiar with that type of nursing, you still need to become familiar with that unit, that facility's policies, where everything is located, all of the codes. You still have to know the facility to be able to effectively do your job. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if I know a patient needs a specific item right now, I'm going to turn for 10 seconds. I know what they need. I don't know where it is. That is going to direct the care or affect the care. You understand what I'm saying? So we get there and they're like, this patient is an ICU patient, and the ICU charge wants you two, the two PACU nurses, me and another nurse, we'll call them Jenny and I, to go to the ICU to recover the ICU patient. I need y'all to tell me if this makes any sense at all. I'm new here. I hardly have gained access to everything in this unit. I damn sure don't have access to everything in the ICU. The ICU is a specialized unit. So a lot of nurses in the hospital, a lot of healthcare staff in the hospital who have access to other units, they won't have access to the ICU. Same with labor and delivery. Same with the NICU. They're specialized units. In a lot of hospitals, you don't just get access to every single area in the hospital just because you work there. That's not how it goes. So we get called to the ICU, and I'm like, this is not making any sense. We are going to leave our unit, a unit that I am just not becoming familiar with. This specific unit at this specific hospital, not this specific type of nursing, this specific unit at this hospital. I am just learning to become familiar with it. I'm being called to another unit, a critical care unit, ICU, intensive care unit, to recover a patient who started there in the first place, intubated, meaning there is a tube in their throat, breathing for them. Okay, not in their throat, in their trachea. Anyways, so I'm irritated. I get there, and one of the doctors is like, what are these ICU nurses, or excuse me, what are these PACU nurses doing here? Bitch, we don't want to be here either. We don't have access to the med room. We don't have access to the medications within the med room. There are things called a Pyxis and an Omnicell. You need access to the room in which one of those two items are located. Once you get in that room, you now need to access that actual device where you pull the medication. We had access to neither. Where are all of your stuff? This makes such little sense. We come to the ICU to recover an ICU patient who has been in the ICU, a patient that the ICU nurses are already familiar with, to recover them in front of ICU nurses? What kind of dumbass shit is that? We don't have access to anything, so we are heavily dependent on the ICU nurse. You might as well take care of the patient. Y'all gotta tell me if y'all think this makes any sense at all, because I thought that it was the dumbest thing I had ever done in my entire career. The dumbest thing. Charge nurse gonna talk about some, no one else has ever had issues. Other nurses have came here and had access to everything. Well, bitch, I don't have access. And neither does the nurse that I'm coming with. We tried. And now we need you to go get everything. The amount of time that we are wasting. The belittling comments. It doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I feel like it puts the patient at more risk. What are we doing all of these handoffs? It makes no sense. Y'all need to tell me what y'all think. Because I felt like that was absolutely ridiculous. Stupid. And real quick, why am I wearing a gladiator costume? You can't see the whole thing. I'm going to stand up just a little bit. Anyways, I'm going to post the actual thing on my short here on YouTube. The whole video with me, you see the whole thing. Because I'm promoting that this particular weekend, from the 31st to either the 1st or the 2nd, I can't remember, sorry. There is a sale on my website, dirtywordsmith.com, dirtywordsmith.com. The discount code is thank you in capital letters with no space. You can go to that website, order anything you want, and everything will be 10% off. So yeah, make sure y'all go check it out. Make sure y'all check out my comic books, Namakasi. That is the reason why I'm dressed as this cosplay, to promote comics. Another item that I have on that website is the stand. Bear with me. I'm trying to open it. Take it out. It's all nicely packaged. So I'm not going to peel any of the plastic off, obviously, because I want somebody who's getting it to still see that it's brand spanking new. But it's a stand. Y'all see this? It goes in here. Namakasi. Anyways. One of the items on there are merch, t-shirts. I'm also going to begin doing subscription tiers where you guys will have exclusive access to exclusive components of my storytelling world. Anyways, back to the matter at hand. I did address this issue with my charge nurse, and it appeared that a number of other nurses that work there are also very frustrated with that policy, that the fact that PACU nurses are called to the ICU to recover an ICU nurse in the ICU, or excuse me, an ICU patient in the ICU in front of ICU nurses who have access to everything, who know the patient. What? So it is something that I think needs to be changed and adjusted quickly, because I do feel like it does put the patient at risk. I feel like it does add to a delay. We don't know where anything is. We're so dependent on everyone. It's better for someone to care for the patient who knows where to get everything, knows how to access, who to call, what the chain of things are not the same from unit to unit. It can't be. The acuity changes for each patient. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like it was completely unfair for the doctor to be like, what are these PACU nurses be doing here? Like, it just felt a little belittling, because if I look at a doctor and I'm like, look, I know that you're an anesthesiologist, but because you're a doctor, go deliver a baby. Stop. Cut it out. Let's stop pretending that just because you work in healthcare, you're supposed to know everything about everything. There are other components that you need to have access to, or you need to know and understand when it comes to going to different units. And it doesn't make you a lesser healthcare personnel. Why is this something that needs to be explained or broken down? Why don't a lot of people understand this? Jesus. That irritated me. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I am irritated. I'm glad I took my glasses off, because you would have seen that shit fog up. Your girl is hot. You understand what I'm saying? Anyways, this costume is itchy. I'm glad to have shared this story with you. Let me know how you guys feel. I'm going to go take this off. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks, guys. Oh, don't forget to go to dirtywordsmith.com. Check me out.